Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the JLJ podcast. It's your boy Jack Rentley. I'm here with my man JVK.
How's it going, guys?
Also here with Matho.
What up?
You guys have been away for a very long time, a big off season, and we're excited to be back. A couple issues over the off season, why we couldn't go back, but we're back now, back bigger, better than ever, and we're talking footy like we always do. So, BK, do you want to kick us off with what we're doing today?
So we're going through every team's kind of like a mid-season review. Just because we're thinking that we've missed so much, so we might as well just go through each team and let you guys know our thoughts on their seasons and players' performances so far. So I'll start us off with Adelaide. Adelaide's season. I thought that we all thought their start to the season was very surprising. They started off really, really well, but then they've dropped off to the form that we thought they'd be around. I think they're 15th at the moment. Which is where we thought they'd be, maybe even a little bit lower. So maybe still doing a lot better than what some expected, especially since they went so badly last year. I just wanted to bring up Tex Walker's form, boys. 34 goals this season, second in the Coleman and second in the AFL for score involvement. So what have your guys' thoughts been on his season this year?
I think
Matthew, you go, yep.
Thanks, mate. I know Jacko's thoughts on Tex. I know he's not the biggest Tex fan going around.
No, I don't mind. Can remember, VK, remember our forward line tier list? The last video we ever did on this channel, VK was adamant he was the worst forward in the competition. And now
he was, mate. He's doing it now. He had a good season, but he was a disgraceful season.
VK, you also said during the week last week that the Western Bulldogs were going to absolutely annihilate Melbourne, but we all saw how that turned out on Friday.
I don't see any footage related to these issues.
Anyway, back to Tex Walker. I think the score involvements are probably one of the better stats for him, especially in recent games. He hasn't really had as big of an impact as what he did in the first 2-3 games where he was kicking bags each week. But his score involvement's getting everyone else involved. That's kind of a good key forward role in a team like that. And especially because they're such a young team as well, getting all the young boys involved, which is pretty good. But yeah, I think he's dropped off now, and I don't know if he'll return to that good form.
Fair enough. Yeah, he's been a good player for a long period of time. He's getting back to that sort of real prime. 2017 when
the one that was the grand final.
Premiership, yeah. Well, they made the grand final. Yeah, he was very good then. Think back to 2012 when they made the prelim, he was dominant back then. So sort of working his way back to that kind of form now, which is really promising for Adelaide. We've probably only got one more or 2 more years left in him.
Yeah, for sure.
Vic, anything else on Adelaide?
No, there was a lot more to speak about at the start of the season, just saying with how surprising they've been, but they've gone back to their little bit of a boring self. Their win against the D, actually, we could highlight, was a very, very impressive win, especially with how well Melbourne have been playing. But apart from that, pretty much a lot of it's just been said, and I think they'll finish it around the same mark they're at right now. They were near the 8 in the first few rounds, obviously, but I don't see that ever coming back. So I think around 15th, 16th would be fair by the end of the season for the Crows.
Yeah, I think they'll finish there. They've got a really good young talent, though. You think Riley Thilthorpe?
He's going to be good.
Kick 5 in his debut, looking pretty good. You got Ben Keys through the middle, Lockie Scholl through the middle as well. So they're in pretty safe hands, which is good to see.
Pretty quick rebuild as well. They had it's not done yet or anything, but it's going on the right track.
Yeah, exactly. They'll get pick 3, pick 4 this year, you'd think. So they get another, real good player in. So yeah, they'll be good in a couple of years' time.
Yeah. Jacko, your Lions, mate.
Kick off our Lions. Playing some serious football at the moment. 7 wins on the trot. Struggled at the start of the year. Obviously got embarrassed by Sydney, which wasn't much fun. The umpires cheated us against Geelong, which was...
Oh, here we go. Actually, can we just talk about that for a second?
Mm-hmm.
So everyone listening, I think we all are aware that Jacko runs the podcast social media pages.
Mm-hmm.
The TikTok page, when obviously... we all saw Mark Blitzards got caught holding the ball in the dying seconds of the Brisbane Geelong game. Jacko has put on the TikTok page the worst decision in AFL history.
It was. It simply
The
was.
worst in the history of the AFL. So
It was.
going back all these years, it is the worst according to Jacko.
I mean, it's pretty bad.
You know, when it got like 10,000 views on TikTok, so it absolutely popped off. And everyone agreed with it. I just speak facts when it comes.
That's right.
Do you honestly think it's the worst decision of all time though?
Yeah.
It's a hard question that we don't like knowing what's the worst. There's no like specific worst decision.
It's not the worst decision of all time.
Yeah, it's very hard to measure that.
That made my blood boil. That was the angriest I've been in a footy game in a very long
Made your
time.
blood boil, did it?
Well, it was a night game as well, so I couldn't sleep. I was that angry. I was just sitting in bed. Absolutely fuming.
There we go.
You couldn't be counting the sheep, mate.
I couldn't. I
catching the D's.
was too angry. Yeah, so Brisbane have had a really strong year. You know, ever since Lockie Neal went out of the team, we've all of a sudden become absolute stars. You see those two players on the screen right now. Both should be in contention for All Australian, especially that man Hugh McCluggage, who genuinely takes the piss every single week. VK, do you want us to call Hugh McCluggage? He's your favourite player outside of Essendon. I hadn't paid you right up. Yeah.
In your list, Jacker, of the top 50 AFL players, I commented Chug Jug should be higher, and I was exactly right. And he's a top 25 player in the AFL. I've said it here today, and I think he is, and I think he's a lock-in to the Australian. And I also think this man Lyons does not get anywhere near the credit he deserves. Carrying my Supercoach team right now, absolutely loving it. But yeah, he's just a bull in the midfield. And yeah, these two have been very, very impressive.
Yeah, so Brisbane.
Do you think when Lockie Neal returns, I think it's this week, isn't it?
Yeah, he got on the plane to Sydney, so hopefully.
Yeah. So do you think Lockie Neal returning will impact their two games and Dane Zorko as well?
It might just mean they have a couple less disposal, but you know, you're never going to say no to a Brownlow medalist going back into your team. Like, all it's going to do is it just means
obviously
the players like Reece Matheson, Dev Robinson and stuff don't go through the midfield as much, which I'm happy with. Reece Matheson, not Mitch Robinson. That is an absolutely outstanding year on the wing, but Reece Matheson, the barometer as he calls himself, he is a solid player, but he's getting to that age. I think he's 24, 25 now, so you know, probably doesn't need to be in that team. Like Devin Robinson, who's 19, he's going to be an absolute star, and hopefully he stays in the midfield when Lockie Neal comes back in.
So Matheson, is he a liability like yourself, mate?
But he's not a liability. He's a good player. I'm not a liability either. But you know, he's a good player, but won't be in our premiership winning team, I would say.
Oh. Right.
There you go. Jacko, where do you see Brisbane finishing?
Second or third, I think. And then I back us in the win the premiership this year. If all our players stay fit and you know, our forward line stays in the form that it is, with Hipwood, Dunner and McStay sort of all kicking 2 or 3, and Charlie Cameron plays his role, then you know, possibilities are endless for us. So yeah, should be good.
Harris Andrews, is he all Australian right now or not?
Oh, absolutely. Mate, he is that good. It is ridiculous. Of course, at the start of the year, he struggled a little bit. He didn't even struggle. He just had a couple of goals kicked on him. Still hasn't had a bad.
He got six kicked on him by Harry Mackay.
Yeah, that's right, mate.
And I think he got 6 kicked on him the week before by someone else. I can't remember who.
No, he didn't. That was his only game where he played poorly. Was that Carlton game?
Mate, he's had 6 kicked on him multiple times this season.
No, he hasn't.
Yes, he has.
No, he hasn't. Trust me, he will be in the All-Australian team. He will be one of the first players put down on that All-Australian team. He's by far the best defender in the competition. Second would be probably Stephen May, and then you can have Darcy Moore like third. Yeah.
I'll take Stephen May over him this year, but I still think they're both in this.
Mm-hmm. And also, quickly, Brandon Starcevich is the best small defender in the competition.
Been great this season.
Mm-hmm. He simply doesn't get goals kicked on him. He's a lot like me, if being honest. Back in my footy prime, I didn't get a lot of the ball, but my opposition definitely didn't get the ball. So Yeah, there's a lot of Brandon Starr speaking about myself. So yeah, he should be in the All-Australian team simply on his defensive efforts.
He's definitely not going to be in the All-Australian team.
No, he should be in the All-Australian team. He's by far the best small defender in the competition as a genuine defender. Matthew, you want to take us through the next team?
Yeah, the Mighty Blue Baggers.
Mm-hmm.
Another very mediocre season. One thing is, I would say, and it's not defending our poor performances lately, but we've lost 6 or 7 games now, and each of them 6 or 7 games have been against top 8 sides other than Collingwood.
Mm-hmm.
So the run hasn't been amazing so far, but the disappointing thing is we will play 3 good quarters of footy,
Mm-hmm.
and doesn't matter what quarter it is, we'll drop off, and that's the quarter that loses us the game. And as you would know, Jacko, being a Brisbane supporter, you got to play a full 4 quarters of footy to
Mm-hmm.
actually be contesting and whatnot. I think when we played Brisbane at Etihad a few weeks ago, or Marvel now I should say,
Mm-hmm.
our second quarter let us down. I think
Yeah.
Brisbane kicked away 4 or 5 goals.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, it gets too hard to come back into the game from that. But the average losing margin is only around 3 goals, maybe, against the top 8 sides. So it's just them brain fades in the last 5 minutes of the game where we just drop our heads, and it just ruins the game, really, where it takes it. You scroll through the AFL app and look at the scores, and you see Carlton lost by 20 odd points, and it doesn't look amazing. But if you actually watch the game, like, we are contesting, and it's just very disappointing that we can't get the wins on the board, really.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Carlton are going to be a very good side. As long as they can lock away Harry Mackay.
They need to keep him.
Yeah, he's been by far the best forward in the competition this year.
Leading the Coleman as well, which is good.
Yeah, exactly. He's kicking letting down last week. Probably cost you the game. So he would have won off his own boot if he could kick straight against Sydney. But, he's still young, so he'll be an All-Australian full forward probably this year and many years to come.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's not even in his prime yet, really. He's only 24 years of age. Give him another 2 years and he'll be hopefully kicking 100 goals a season like Big Fev did back in the day for us. Actually, no, he ended 99, didn't he?
No, never kicked 100, did he?
Yeah, because Alistair
Clark
was the dog.
What do you mean? Putting 4 players on him is what you got to do.
Yeah, you cannot defend that. I'm sorry.
You're up by how many goals, and this bloke's 1 goal away from kicking 100.
Yeah, but I understand why he did it.
Why? What's wrong with getting to the 100?
Because why would you want Buddy's 100 to be? There would be less on. It would be.
But how good would it be for the whole of the AFL to say that 2 players made to 100 goals in 1 season, not just 1?
Yeah, it would have been good, but it wouldn't have been as good for Buddy.
Yeah, well,
that's what.
Buddy.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. He plays for Hawthorn, and Hawthorn obviously don't want him to share. It's like having, how good would it be to have a dual, sharing Brownlow medals? That's the worst thing ever, having 2 Brownlow medalists. Play the same with 100 goals.
I don't mind the dual Brownlow. I don't mind the dual Brownlow.
No, I hate the dual Brownlow.
Jim Bird back in the day, I like the dual Brownlow.
No, you could have put 4 players on him, or you could have just let him kick a goal and then get Buddy to kick another one down the other end.
No,
101 and then 100 goals.
I don't think that mattered on how many goals it was. It was
still 100.
Yeah.
Pathetic, Jacko. Clarko's a dog. Alistair Clarkson, if you're listening,
he's
a good dog. Back to Carlton. Sam Walsh is all Australian now.
I hope so, but I don't think he will be.
I don't think he will be.
No,
deserves it, but he won't. I think it's really disappointing for Carlton fans. I think, but at this time, especially this season, the expectation was pretty much finals footy. I think it's very disappointing for them. And I honestly had them pushing finals, not making it, but being a lot better than they are this season. And it just gets, if I was a Carlton supporter, I just get sick and tired of just losing the games you should be winning, and losing by 4 to 5 goals every week is very frustrating.
Yeah.
So I reckon they still got a bit more of improvement to really get to that top 8. And I'm not even sure if they'll make it next year.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if they can. Of course, bring him. Adam Sard is not worth $800,000, unfortunately. What he's currently
Nick
playing
Hines
on.
better. Nick Hines better.
No, we're not paying Adam Sard 800,000. We're paying Zach Williams 800,000.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well and truly under 800,000.
Yeah, I'm sure that Sard has similar money. But yeah, I was going to say on Zach Williams as well. He's been very poor, trying to play inside mid. Of course, everyone goes back to that game against Collingwood, where he took the piss as an inside midfielder, but unfortunately,
it's not his position. He's a halfback. He's a halfback.
Yeah.
Also been trying to move him forward a little bit, which, as a supporter, not really enjoying it. He's good in front of goal, but he's naturally a defender, which is where he should be being played.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think they're both front-loaded ended contracts, which is a good thing. Like a lot of people frowned upon Jack Martin's.
He's only got a cheeky 1.2 mil.
For 1 year, though.
Yeah, he's still very average.
And then his last contracted year with us is like 300 grand. So if you weigh it out, it averages out to be like 500 grand, 600 grand a year.
Yeah, the big one screwing you is what's his name, Silvani, on 800 grand and not playing a game.
Jack Silvani.
Yeah.
No, he's playing. He's playing right now.
He's on $800,000 and he's nowhere near worth that.
He's not on 800,000.
He is?
No, he's not.
Which
one's near 800,000.
Which one's the key forward? The young key forward.
We delisted Ben Silvani.
Which one is it? One of them is on $800,000.
There's only one Silvani at Carlton right now.
Well, is he a forward?
Yeah, a caretaker.
I think you're talking about Charlie.
Maybe it's Charlie Kerr I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's on 800.
Yeah, but if Charlie's fit and he's playing, he's 100% worth 800,000.
Oh, he's not that good.
Charlie Kerno at his best is 800,000 easily.
No, he's not. He's not as good as either of the King brothers, and they're nowhere near that money.
Yeah, but they're also a lot younger than him.
Yeah, and they're already better than him.
He's been injured though. You can't really justify it.
Yeah, well, why are you playing an injured player? He's just no good.
He's not playing.
Yeah, because he's injured. Why would you be paying?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Trust me, he will finish his career as a 0-time All-Australian player.
I disagree. If he's fit, I think he's one of the best centre forwards in the game.
We'll agree to disagree.
Well, there you go. BK, what's your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Charlie Kerno?
I think at his best, he's close to worth that, but I also do not think he will ever make an All-Australian team, so I agree with Jack on that bit.
There you go.
Yeah. But right now, you can't really change a contract once they've already signed it, so he's worth that 800,000.
Yeah, I do think it's a bit of a waste of money, though, for him just sitting on the sidelines. It's like with our Joe Danaher contract when he was playing.
Yeah,
when he was the lack of playing because he was injured after.
But you can't help injuries either.
Yeah. They can't help it, but it's still a bit of a waste of money right now. They can't do much about.
Yeah. All right. The Pies. CK, can you give us a Darcy Moore face that he's pulling right there?
I'm not giving you Darcy Moore face.
Jacko?
I don't think any of us should make Darcy Moore face.
You got to get the arms up. Like that, you know?
Stop. Talk about Collingwood.
Yeah, Collingwood. I think it's just funny, really. The club's in the shambles. It's quite awesome, really. As a Carlton fan, I'm sure VK's feeling the same as an Essendon fan.
I mean, I also think that people are underrating them a little bit. I think their list is a lot better for next season than people are giving them credit for. But obviously, as a fan, it's good to see Collingwood not play so well because they've had success in the past, obviously. But I still look at their list without injuries. I look at it and I'm like, this team can't be as bad as they are. then that's the way I look at it. I like to look at the list when they're all healthy, and I look at the Collingwood team and I go, you bring Howe back, you have the whole team not injured. I don't reckon they'll be too bad next season.
Yeah.
No, even their full strength team isn't the top 8 team.
No.
I reckon they push.
No,
With Dacos in, I think they push.
Yeah, but what Dacos comes in and does a Matt Real and gets injured after
Yeah, he
2
might.
weeks,
But
and all of a sudden they're nowhere because they haven't got any key forwards.
Yeah.
They've got,
I think they're still
and
got
they've
one way to go.
got the shittest game plan in the AFL. Like all they do is chip around their back line and refuse to go forward because all they care about is defence.
And they've got too many jackos on the field, liabilities on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as we love Callum Brown at the JLJ podcast, and
he struggles. Callum Brown.
He's that man. No, I back him in all day.
Imagine needs to get delisted from there. So let's be real. That bloke, how's he playing? That's what I want to know.
Jack
I
Davis.
do.
Thoughts on Jack Madgen? Is his favourite player?
Oh, golly.
What?
I also
me or VK?
No, Davo.
Davo's probably watching.
Davo's watching.
Yeah. Oh.
Go,
Jacko.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you think Nathan Buckley has?
I think they'll give him another year. I don't think they should give him another year, but they will give him another year. And if they finish below 12th next year, then it'll be gone.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
I think he may be gone at the end of the year.
No, I think he should be.
He should be, and I think he might be gone. I believe there's a lot of talk around Alistair Clarkson going to Collingwood. I don't know the truth behind it, and I doubt he would.
No.
Yeah, I don't think he would, but wouldn't be bad for them. I mean, he's an established coach in the AFL. Jacko says best coach of all time.
Yeah, of course. Mate, if Collingwood had the chance to get rid of Alistair Clarkson, they fired Nathan Buckley on the spot.
Yeah, exactly. But I think a lot of the problem with Collingwood is the behind the scenes right now. Eddie McGuire spoke about it last night on Footy Classified. He got a bit fired over it. I think it's the president and someone else disagreeing right now.
Yeah, the whole
and there's
stuff.
Yeah. So it's not amazing for them really. Like a lot of successful teams will have a well-run backroom and a well-run actual team, and it's not really going to work if both aren't operating the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we spoke about during the last season, especially in the trade period, we thought Collingwood were going to be. We didn't think they were going to be this bad though. We thought, Lawrence Stevenson, he doesn't really do much anyway, but been really good at North Melbourne. Tom Phillips didn't do much. Collingwood's been decent at Hawthorn, and they thought Trelaw was going to be crap this year, obviously because his wife and kids live up in Queensland now. But yeah, Trelaw takes the piss now, even though he's
such a big loss. He's such a big loss, Trelaw. Like such a big.
All of them players are obviously they kind of just fill list spots, but the thing is they're better than your average person that's going to be midway down your list. Like you need, and that's, I think Jacko, you're saying, I think in our group chat, I think you've said it a few times, especially for Carlton, our dud players are a lot worse than other people's dud players, and you need that balance, and they're not really classified as dud players, I'd say, but at Collingwood they weren't really your star players, but they did their job and did it well. And now they're fitting into other teams, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the thing on that. If you want to win premierships, it's the bottom players sort of win it for you. It's who's got the best, worst players sort of thing. You think Richmond, there aren't any bad players in that team sort of thing, and they've won the last premierships. Now Geelong have been so good for so long because their bottom end players have been much better than the other teams. So yeah, that's where Collingwood struggles now. They got Madgen, they got Thomas, they got Brown. You've got Cox who doesn't play anymore. Cameron who struggles, Hoskin Elliott who struggles. So those bottom end players are a lot worse than most other clubs' bottom end players.
Exactly. Liam McMahon needs to get a run.
Mm-hmm.
I think Liam McMahon needs to be popped down in the forward line, kick a bag, it would be good.
Yeah, you'd love to see him out there, get some youth out there.
Exactly. You wouldn't really want him to waste his first year. Spoken to him not long ago. Shout out to Liam if you're listening, mate. Come join us for an episode soon, mate. But yeah, no, he was telling me he's hopefully the end of the season.
Well, yeah, so, should be all right then.
Should be good. You love seeing the local talent that you're known growing up getting a gig. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, I see you shaking your head.
I don't believe so, but I'd love to see Liam go out there and play.
There you
go. Yeah,
a lot of the research people don't really fancy seeing Liam McMahon in the Collingwood side.
He's a Greensboro bloke now.
Yeah, he's a
bit of a multicultural
down the Greensy.
Bit of a multicultural man, I may say.
There you go. The Dons.
There you go, VK.
Extremely surprising. I think Rutten has gotten us playing a specific style, which we haven't had in the longest time. How we're playing right now, and it's working. It's very similar to how Richmond play with the pressure. Our pressure is just really, really immaculate. First of all, what a win against West Coast the other week. Before I go into how impressive I think we've been, I also want to say that there's a little bit too much hype going on right now with Essendon, which obviously I'm going to be pumped with how we're playing, but I think it's just a little bit too much. I've been watching some stuff saying like that we're the next up and coming future premiership team the next few years, stuff like that. And I think we're going to be good, but I think the expectations can't be that high for just a few good games. And obviously, if we won the game we lost by a point, the game we lost by 2 points, the game we lost by 3 points, we'd be pushing for top 4. But with such a young list that aren't developed yet, like it's Cox especially, obviously he's been good, but he's not going to ready-made AF, like a consistent ready-made AFL player yet. And I think that's just a little bit overhyped. But I think our season's been fantastic. We still won't make finals. I think 11th to 12th will be the area for this season. And I also think Zach Merritt has to stay. I think he's that valuable, the midfielder. He's that good. And he said he wants to see how we play and how he sees us in the future. And we've given him that. We're sitting 9th right now, playing some good, promising football. So he's got to have his decision. And if he doesn't get picked, if he doesn't sign a contract in the next week or two, I think he's guaranteed leaving. I think the contract has to come soon. And if it doesn't, I think he's off, which I don't see why he would. Getting to play with someone like Darcy Parish right now, midfielder who's having an unbelievable season. Second in the AFL for clearances. He has been amazing, especially that Anzac Day game, which was one of the best games I've seen from an Essendon player in a long time. But yeah, I'm praying that Zach Merritt stays, to be honest.
Yeah. I think
you wouldn't, I think he will as well, but you also wouldn't blame him for leaving. Like you said then, VK, playing in a good midfield with Darcy Parish alongside him. But I mean, if he got offered a little bit more money and to go play with, say, a West Coast midfield or a Brisbane midfield or something like that.
I mean, Brisbane I'd get, but I'd rather play fresher than West Coast right now. They're on the decline, aging list. I mean, there's obviously, like I said, we're a bit overhyped right now, but there's not that many teams, especially in terms of midfields, that I'd rather be playing for the future. He's still young. I mean, Brisbane would be obviously the top pick that I'd be going to, because Bulldogs, he won't get a run he will get a run, but there's so much competition through there as well.
Yeah, but they don't got the money either.
Yeah. I'd stay if I was him. No bias whatsoever. I think that he just that's his best option right now.
Yeah,
with how we're playing.
And especially considering that there was heavy links to him going to Collingwood, I don't see him wanting to go to Collingwood anymore.
I wouldn't want to see him there.
It was at the start of the season. He probably was tempted to go to Collingwood because, Collingwood probably can be in the 8. They'll be all right. But seeing them now when their lack of future,
backward step.
Zach Merritt would leave Essendon.
There was heavy links with him coming to Carlton as well. absolutely love him coming to Carlton.
He'd surely you'd rather play for Essendon than Carlton. I'm like, I obviously Carlton are better right now. Like, I mean, probably not actually. But I reckon that I think we're more promising. I'm gonna put this out there. I think we are more promising right now than Carlton. I'd be more excited to play for Essendon than Carlton.
Yeah, I think Carlton have better young players, but Essendon have more good young players. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like Bolshin,
Yeah.
Hire better than every Essendon young player sort of thing. But Essendon's got so many. They got, Cox, Parrish, Perkins.
McGrath's still young.
Yeah, McGrath's still young.
Ridley's 22.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of good young players. While Carlton have only 2 or 3 very, very good young players, sort of thing.
Yeah. Nice.
We move on to Freo. Beth, I was waiting for you to flip the next one. We'll move on to Freo. We'll make this one shorter because Fremantle, not a lot to talk about. They've got the young midfielder, Brayshaw, Chera, Sarong, all playing pretty well together. Big one, David Mundy. Started the season on fire. People putting bets on for him to win the Brownlow. Probably hasn't polled a vote in the last month.
Lately, yeah.
Yeah, but started the season on fire. And Nat Fyfe doesn't know how to kick a football anymore, unfortunately, in front of goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously he's going to be, the best player in Fremantle's team. And good to have Luke Ryan back for Fremantle. Adds a bit of stability down back. And Matty Taberner doing what he does. Just pops up, kicks his 2 or 3. So yeah, Fremantle are exactly where I think everyone thought. Maybe a bit worse. I think people had them for maybe an 8th spot. Yeah, a lot of people had them in 8th spot. But if they keep winning at home, and I think their only hope for Fremantle is if they make the 8 is to try and finish 6th and try and get a home final.
Yeah,
not gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. So if they finish 8th or 7th, I think they'll be on straight out.
Who knows? They're in the mix-up though. They're equal on points with Essendon and all that right now, sitting at effectively 9th, but based off percentage, they're in 11th. I mean, they're not that far off it, I don't think, and they fly under the radar a lot, really. Very good young midfield, obviously, like you said, Jacko. But a lot of both Perth teams, they do fly under the radar a lot because don't hear about them much because obviously they're saying that they're a long way away is kind of true because they're over the other side of Australia. And a lot of the Western Australians will say that you don't hear about all the Western Australian footballs and that sort of stuff, but it does go off over there and they do love it, and it definitely does fly under the radar. So wouldn't put it past Fremantle to raise the question and see how far they can go.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on.
The Cats.
The Cattery.
The mighty Geelong. Hey?
Speaking about flying a little bit under the radar, I think the Cats are as well, sitting in 4th place right now. Not a lot of talk. All the talk's been about the D's and the Bulldogs and Brisbane as of late with their 7-game winning streak. But I do think Geelong are playing just like they do every year. They just trot along, get wins when they need to, and sit around that top 4 area. Hawkins, for me, has again been a standout. Not as good as he was last season, but his score involvement is 3rd in the AFL, and the front 3 for Geelong, especially in that game, how much did they combine for? 15?
15 or something like that.
They work well together. And especially Cameron and Hawkins, Rowan very consistent, as he always has been, getting a little bit more consistent, but the other 2 playing great football.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of questions about whether Jeremy Cameron and Tom Hawkins would be able to play alongside each other, obviously being 2 big key forwards, but nowadays it's becoming a lot easier to bring into the game, I think. I mean, who really started it? Richmond with Lynch and Rewalt. I think Simler was there, and they obviously, it's going to take some time obviously to get used to it. But I think they're working really, really well together, which is awesome for the Cats, really. The midfield, Guthrie's killing it.
Wood's having a great year.
Selwood's having a great year. Meningola,
Hasn't
underrated.
Yeah.
Duncan,
He's
very
been
underrated.
Meningola. Me and VK's man, unfortunately, has not been it this year.
It's disappointing to see someone love so much. He's there. I had him in the top 50 as well with Long McCluggage. He's definitely not there anymore.
No.
Duncan,
Not this
very
season.
underrated.
Yeah,
He's Duncan.
He's gone. Yeah.
And that man there, Jack Henry. Jonathan Brown raised it actually against in the Geelong Collingwood game on the weekend. He has to be in All-Australian contention right now. And I have to agree with him, to be completely honest.
Yeah,
I think,
he's solid. I wouldn't put him in All-Australian. He's a solid player.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I don't think the team, but definitely in the squad at least. He definitely needs to be in contention. But, Darcy Byrne-Jones made it last year, so why can't Jack Henry make it this year?
Good point.
Yeah,
Very solid point.
If Darcy Byrne-Jones can make it, anyone can make it.
Yeah, exactly. But obviously when us boys were on schoolies, Jackie Henry was at the Porty pub, went over, said g'day. Cracking bloke.
Yeah.
He's a
Once
cracking
again,
bloke. I've got his mate.
It's the JLJ effect, isn't it?
I've got his mate's phone number in my phone. Maybe we give him a call and say, put Jack Henry on. We need to talk to him.
Exactly. As we know, the JLJ effect made Dan Butler an All-Australian player, made Cal Brown.
Known.
Has made Jack Henry turn into one of the better, running plays in the comp. So yeah.
Exactly. We need him. We need him there. He also sent a video to Emily for me. He, got on the phone, said hello. How are you?
Yeah.
Cracking bloke. Cracking bloke.
Great guy, Jack Henry. Is that the reason he made it onto the thing?
Yeah. Yeah. And he's in All-Australian contention as well.
Chat about Gold Coast.
Yeah. And behind our heads there is Took Miller, if no one can see.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
VK
started of
last season.
I'll be
I knew who he was.
VK had no idea.
Yeah.
You talk about Took Miller, no idea.
Nah. He wasn't. He was a nobody back then.
He was a good player.
He's always been somebody.
He either tagged someone or had good possessions. And like now he takes the piss in the midfield. So
yeah, he's taking the piss. Gold Coast. What do we think?
Disappointing again, like they are every year.
Yeah, they're just Gold Coast.
They're turning it to just Gold Coast. Like there's no excitement factor. There's no nothing. King's the only excitement factor in that team. He needs to get out of there. Is what he needs to do. And Rao when he comes back, but will he ever not be injured? Who knows at this stage? But
and Noah Anderson, I think.
But
I
think King's got to get out of there. He's so good.
They're just still
so quick.
They're still just a mid-table side, really. They're not really going to get anywhere, but I think they've been exciting to watch. I think saying that they're not exciting is a little harsh. I think when they turn it on, they're not bad. That's for sure. And Took Miller, he's been, as we said before, taking the piss. Sam Collins down back, he's been all right for them.
Yeah.
They're slowly knocking away, getting there.
Yeah, they're not a bad team. They're just an average team. I think they're one or two good players off. Their midfield's quite strong with Anderson, Alice, Greenwood, and Miller. Rao comes back in, that'll be really strong midfield.
Exactly.
But yeah, they're sort of just missing a couple players.
Two or three more key players, and I think they'd be top eight contenders.
Yeah, and of course, all their tall players are injured as well. You got to remember.
Exactly.
They're ruckman, they're backup ruckman, they're key defender. All of them have gone down with knee injuries, sort of thing. So
it's not amazing for them.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants.
GWS.
I think all we can really talk about is that man on the screen right there, Tim Taranto.
Taranto's been fantastic this season, hasn't he? He's along with Toby Green.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Toby Green.
For the Giants. They started off very poorly first 3 rounds. They started really badly and they turned around after round 4. Leon Cameron's job was in jeopardy. A lot of that was just clear around the AFL at the start of the season, but they've turned it around and going into the position where I thought they'd actually be this season, around that. What are they 10th right now? Around there?
Yeah, they're on the same point as
Pushing to
Essendon, but they're just percentage again.
That's where I expected it to be this season. They still got a pretty good list with some gun players, such as Toby Green and Tim Taranto. But I don't think they will make finals. But they'll be hovering around that area.
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they made finals. I think they're better than what people are giving them. They've had half their team out the last couple of weeks, and apart from the Brisbane game where we kicked 7 goals in the first quarter to their 1.
They pumped them.
Yeah, they've been really, really strong for the past month and a bit. Of course, Tim Taranto is very good. Toby Green, by far the best small forward in the competition.
Comfortably.
Yeah. So, I don't think they'll be too bad. Tom Green, he's a big lad. He loves the handball.
Loves the handball.
He does. He deliberately won't kick so he can make the second option the handball. Which is
a bit like Tom Mitchell. Bit like Tommy Mitchell.
Way.
Only handballs.
Tommy Mitchell's first option is always to give the handball, but he can't kick. So I think
he only handballs, mate. He doesn't. I don't think he registers a kick.
Hasn't this season. Not one.
He's had 300 hand passes for years so far.
Exactly. He's got 300 touches this year. 300 of them are handballs.
Speaking of Tom Mitchell, then should we move on to Hawthorn?
Absolutely.
There he is.
What is he about to do, Matthew? In that picture?
Handball it. Exactly. He's not kicking it, mate. He's not kicking it.
Well, despite Matthew's disappointment in Tom Mitchell, he is by far their best player and still an elite player. And still an elite player in the competition. When you say all he does is handball, but they are important handballs. It's normally when he's on the bottom of the pack getting a handball. He averages 15 or so contested possessions a game. So he's a very good player. But Hawthorn, I think, are exactly where everyone expected Hawthorn to be. They really haven't got a lot going for them. So a big rebuild ahead. Of course, when they could bring Sicily back in next year with his knee, that will help them a bit. But I think it'll be 2 or 3 years Hawthorn at the bottom. Their only real, probably exciting young player is CJ.
Obviously.
Who
cracking play.
Absolutely, just all he does is run, and that's exciting. Especially when Hawthorn have pretty average game style where they just sort of try and defend. Because Hawthorn will never get blown out of the game, sort of thing. It's because the way they play is they'll lose by 20 to 30 points every game, just because they just defend all day. They'll be competitive in most games, but as you can see, only 2 wins for the year. They won't win many. Nothing exciting about Hawthorn.
What about them? The D's, eh? Christian Petrarca, ex-Friars lad, obviously. I think, the name speaks for itself right now. Christian Petrarca, I think he's definitely up there in the Brownlow. But I think the bloke next to him as well, Clayton Oliver, also a shout for the Brownlow.
Yeah, he's my pick right now for the Brownlow.
Obviously, only lost they've lost 2 games now, haven't they? But everyone thought after them 2 losses that maybe their good luck or good run of form was ending. But then obviously recently the demolishing of Western Bulldogs, I think that was something that everyone looked at and thought, shit, maybe they are the real deal. VK, you thought that they were going to get absolutely pumped by the Dogs?
VK cost me my tip. I had Melbourne by 11 points 2 or 3 hours before the game, and VK on the PlayStation party told me, I'm like, VK's probably right here. And then I change it.
I don't blame you, mate. That's usually what happens. You can't win them all.
Don't quote him on anything, Jacko. He's a liability.
Yeah, very true. But speaking of Christian Petrarca, the JLJ podcast on TikTok did put up a poll on who the better player is out of the Bontempelli and Christian Petrarca. And would either of you like to guess who won the vote?
I hope it's Bontempelli. He's the best player in the AFL.
I hope Christian Petrarca.
I hope it's Bontempelli.
Bontempelli had 279 votes.
Uh-huh.
Christian Petrarca had 148 votes.
Good. That's how it should be.
Yeah,
Exactly how it should be.
It's good to see the JLJ getting involved with plenty of votes. But yeah, the Christian Petrarca, as I said, I sort of put up who I think probably the two best players are this season. So yeah, people think Bontempelli is better. Petrarca obviously gun as well. So yeah, so I'll put that out there.
Sure, it's very, very close. I think could have gone either way. Depends on what you're really asking for. Petrarca is more of the. We'll look at the bloke's body. He's massive, and he can do the silky stuff as well. Kick good goals as well. But Bontempelli obviously a lot slimmer than what Petrarca is, and but his ability to get the ball and use it well is next to none really.
Yeah. Noxie, if you're listening, when Noxie used to tell me Scott Pendlebury is still better than Bontempelli, he's lost his marbles. Scott Pendlebury isn't even in the top 50 players anymore. He's shocking.
The Crip spot debate is done as well. I'll put that out there.
Yeah,
it's not even a debate anymore. I honestly reckon Bontempelli is the best player in the competition. Hasn't he kicked 12 goals in the last 4 or 5 weeks?
Yeah.
He's kicking goals. He's added that. He kicked 4 goals. He's that good. Marcus Bontempelli.
He does float forward for the Dogs though, considering that they have got such a wide selection for midfielders.
I think he's comfortably the best player in the AFL.
Yeah. I wouldn't say comfortably, but he's the best player. He's the best player in the AFL.
Actually, that's one thing that we didn't talk about, Cripper, is his injury that got swept under the mat. You know, his back injury obviously earlier on in the season. I don't know if you can hear me still.
David, what happened? You went out.
The areas have gone flat, but that's all right. We'll put him back in soon. We'll just charge him for a bit. But his back injury obviously.
We love the chat.
Nice, mate.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Yeah, I can hear you there. Yeah. But yeah, so Crips
North Melbourne.
No, golly, it's very bad as we expected, to be honest. There's really not much to say North. We could probably do like a 15-second segment on North Melbourne. The only person I've seen of note in the North Melbourne team is Zerha, who's had a few pretty good games this year. What, he kicked 3 or 4 in one game. It's
Simpkins a good player.
Yeah, Simpkins been, but they've been so disappointing. That's what you'd expect, but there's just nothing to say. They're the most boring team in the history of the AFL, and I just might as well put to sleep. Let's talk about.
I think Dangerfield obviously posting Ben Cunnington, hell of a player.
Oh yeah, it's good to see him.
Game respects game.
Yeah, back fit. Ben Cunnington is an elite midfielder and has been for the last 5 years. The problem is he plays 5 games a season.
Yeah,
exactly. Body's stuck.
Getting a bit old now.
Yeah. If he can stay out, if he can play I think he'll play on next year. If he can play 10 to 15 games out of the 22, I think that's a good result for North Melbourne to help these young players like Will Phillips coming along. Tom Powell, another good young player. So yeah, they got a couple decent young players, North Melbourne, and they'll have the number 1 pick sort of thing. Obviously, Dacos most likely will be number 1, so they get the number 2 player. But yeah, they'll have another good player come in, North Melbourne.
Exactly. I think how long do you reckon their rebuild will take?
A long time.
Yeah, 5 years maybe.
Yep, minimum.
There we go. The pair, eh? I think
a tough one this year.
Yeah, I think I don't know what to say about them really. I think they've just continued their form on from last year a little bit, just like a Geelong almost, just chipping away at it, getting the wins where they need to get the wins. I don't know about premiership this year. I think they may have missed their chance. But I think they're still definitely a contender, definitely top 4, maybe top 6. But yeah, you just got to wait and see with them, really.
Yeah, they're going to be a good team. They always will be. Of course, injuries to Butters and Dersma have really hurt them. Then Rosie had that foot problem where he's injured again. So they're three youngsters who are going to take them to the next premiership. Not playing really hurts them. But yeah, Charlie Dixon starting to light it up again. Really poor for the first 5 or 6 weeks. Didn't do anything. The man on screen, Ollie Wines, has literally carried them.
Career best form.
Yeah,
Ollie Wines.
He's a gun and always will be a gun. So yeah, Carl Amon's also been solid, as you saw on the weekend. Had about 17 touches into quarter time. Finished with about 28 or something. So he's a good young player as well. So they're in good hands for Adelaide, and they'll be there again this year.
I think they will be for quite some time. Obviously, with their youngsters, should be good for them. The Tigs, okay.
All right, so Richmond, it's really been an up and down year. Lose to Melbourne, everyone say they're out sort of thing. Then, come beat the Dogs. But, it's been a really up and down year. No one will quite know where Richmond are going to be. They're always going to be thereabouts. They're the only team in the competition who could finish 8 and win the premiership, I think.
Yeah.
Just because of that sort of experience and big time players that they have. All they do is complain. Damien Hardwick always has his whole career been the complainer. He'll continue to complain about going to Marvel Stadium. What a joke that is. There's nothing wrong with Marvel Stadium. It's just a footy ground.
It just doesn't suit his game style for them, really.
It should be exactly the same. Like, it is smaller than the MCG, but it's not that much more. Like, all Richmond's game plan is get the ball and hand pass it forward and hope someone's there. That's all their game plan is. So,
I think it's also, obviously it's still, the Marvel's still in Melbourne, but
exactly.
I think they when they play at the G and they've got 60,000-70,000 Tigers fans in the crowd, it's almost an extra player out on the field for them, really.
Yeah, but how plastic are their supporters that, as Hardwick says, our fans don't come to Marvel? Like, it's 15 minutes down the road. What is wrong with you?
It's no difference. It's one train. It's one train stop. Like, who cares?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like Hawthorn and North Melbourne who play games in Tasmania. Well, Hawthorn don't anymore, but North Melbourne play game in Tasmania. You had Melbourne who played a lot of game up in Darwin, sort of thing. It's not like those that's their home game and not at their main home ground. Even Geelong don't complain when they have to come to the MCG, sort of thing.
Yeah, and they had to play their finals at the MCG.
Exactly.
It's just sometimes you got to deal with it, and obviously Chris Scott not happy with it, complained about it. But
Chris Scott complained about the air being too cold. That's another bloke.
I hate Chris Scott.
Yeah, everyone hates Chris Scott. He's a wanker.
I can't stand him.
But yeah, like moving back to Richmond as a team, Lynch out now makes it hard. Shea Bolton took mark of the year. Then 3 weeks later, Jack Rewalt stole it straight off him. That going back with a flight, Specky.
Such a good mark.
Yeah, something you'll probably never see again. Will be up there as one of the best marks of all time. And as Jack Rewalt sort of, you see him and you think, I don't know if he's still got it in him, but then he does that kind of stuff, kicks 5 on the weekend.
He pulls off that as soon as he started doubting him.
Like, I was down in the Sally, I'm thinking, like, no, he can't really jump anymore. He can't run anymore. His touch isn't there. But, he proves people wrong time and time again. And, so Martin has been average this year.
Martin's Martin, though. He can turn it on whenever he wants.
Yeah.
I think he can't really. Right now, you'd be saying on current form, Bontempelli's the best player in the game. But if you're going off all time, I think Dusty's well and truly ahead of him. Oh
yeah, of course. Yeah, Dustin's
and
crime's much better than Bontempelli's crime, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. He's got. I think Dusty's got the ability to impact and change a game a lot more than what Marcus Bontempelli has.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was nothing better though than seeing Mitch Robinson take him down and then Joe Lyons also taking him down as well. That was good. But yeah, Richmond.
It was a high tackle, mate.
Definitely wasn't a high tackle. But yeah. But Shai Bolton on the screen has definitely been their best player this year.
100%.
Disappointing with his broken wrist, of course. Punched the nightclub. But yeah, he's been their best player. Noah Bolter, I have in my mid-season All-Australian right now. He's by far the best defender. Boston's been injured for half the year. Grimes has been nowhere near his best. He drops a lot of marks now, Dylan Grimes, which he didn't drop last year, sort of thing. So, Nathan Broad's also been quite good for Richmond. Of course, he did get those 2 votes by Lee Matthews accidentally in the Norm Smith voting when he thought that Jaden Short was Nathan Broad. So that was his little bit of fame there. But yeah, Richmond, and I think they'll probably finish. I think they'll finish outside the top 4. But I think there's probably top 6 can win it. I think this year. Those teams, you got
many people that can win it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't think looking at the 8 right now, I don't think Sydney or West Coast could win the premiership. The other top 6 teams, I think, could.
For sure. And that's like what we were talking about before. Richmond's stud players would arguably fit into a lot of sides.
Yeah.
In the AFL, from the best 18 that you're putting on the field for Richmond, obviously you're going to have some players that aren't stars and they're just fill the spot. But I think anyone that starts for Richmond would comfortably fit in any AFL side.
Yeah, especially some of the young players they brought in, Riley Collier-Dawkins, really good through the midfield, and Callum Jones.
He was good last week.
Yeah, he's a forward. There's not much competition, of course, playing against Adelaide. They've got a lot of key defenders, but he looks like a good player. So they've got a couple solid young players.
Exactly. The Saints.
Very, very, very disappointing. The Saints, what they've been smashed by Essendon, Richmond, Port, and the Dogs. I think were they all 60-point plus losses, with 3 of them being like around the 80 to 100 mark. They've been players that have just been terrible. People like Brad Hill, who back in the day I used to think was quite amazing.
He's just man. There was a
not
man
up
2 years ago. Was going to make his first year at St Kilda.
Not up to it. It's not up to it. I'm also calling out our man Dan Barr. Not up to it.
No, he's been really poor.
He's not good enough. Good seasons from Steele and Billings, though, the 2 men on the screen right now. Especially Billings last few weeks been very impressive with the numbers he's backing up. But the Saints, I just don't. I expect them to be worse this season, but not to the level that they're playing at, especially in the games where they get blown out. There's no heart, there's no want, and you just don't know how they're going to play each week. They change each week, whether they're going to even give an effort at all. So it'd be very disappointing for Saints supporters who thought they were still on the rise last year with such a good season. Yeah. Like they beat the Doggies in the finals last year, and now look at the differences between the 2 teams.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that St Kilda fans are frustrated at, is that they haven't lost anyone. They've even improved their list by bringing in Brad Crouch, who's been quite strong this year. Actually, he's been one of their better players, but they're just getting blown out by, it's one of their bottom end players who were good last year and now just horrible players. The fact that you have Chip Frawley still running around in your team is something you got to worry about. The fact that he couldn't get a game for Hawthorn really shows you something, considering how bad their defence is. So St Kilda is struggling. Paddy Ryder has been quite good in the games he played, of course, took that time off for mental reasons, going back to his hometown. But so I've been to a fair few St Kilda games this year, and they've just been really poor and not much fun to watch.
I think Max King's been something they can look at and sort of smile. I think
he's a shadow of a player he was at the start of the season.
Yeah,
he's scared to go near the ball now.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I think
from Marshall has been a bit off it. I know he's been injured, but even when he has been playing, he's been below par. Yeah, I mean, it's just disappointing, really. Like VK said, it's like you expect a lot from them considering the season they had last year, but they've just been well and truly below it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think they've pretty much scrapped this season and look for next season. I think they'll bounce back next year. They'll get a solid draft pick in this year, just with how low they'll finish, and they've still got all the same players that had them being the most exciting team in the competition at one stage last year. So yeah, I think they'll be fine for next year, but this year, I think St Kilda fans can write this one off.
Yeah. The Swans, hey?
Oh, goodness me. So, Sydney...
Them two on screen have been good for them. It's been good to see Buddy back and firing. Isaac Heaney against Carlton, it was outstanding.
Isaac Heaney has the best hands in the competition.
Yeah.
He doesn't drop marks.
But, I think, Jacko, you've got stuff written down.
Yeah, so pretty much Sydney started the season on fire. Of course, he was telling everyone they're winning the premiership. And now, look at them now. The shadow of the team they were at the start of the year. You had players like Goulden, McDonald, Warner, all those types of players that were, Wicks as well. What's his name? They were really strong at the start of the year. And now, Goulden struggles to get a game. McDonald struggles to get a game. The young players aren't performing to what they were at the start of the year. I think Sydney fans are happy where they are. Of course, they're in the top 8.
I think they're not as good as what they were at the start of the season for sure, but I still think that they're still up there. It was a good performance against Carlton on the weekend.
I think that they win the games they should win. I think that's how it goes.
Yeah.
I don't see them beating any good teams for the rest of the season. Of course, they were really lucky when they hit their form, beating Brisbane and Richmond at the start of the year. So if we played them next week, I comfortably see us winning by 40 points against them.
Maybe not 40.
It was at the Gabba, we'd win by 40 points against them easily.
And if it was at the SCG, I think Sydney would run you over.
No, we'd still beat them at the SCG. Our midfield would just overpower them to what they have. Now they've only got in their midfield. Callum Mills has probably been their best player this year. He's a serious player. Kennedy's passed it. Luke Parker's been solid, not getting the numbers that he once was getting. I'd say right now, our Brisbane midfield would absolutely dominate them.
I honestly reckon if Brisbane plays Sydney right now at the SCG, I think Sydney would give you a good run for your money.
I think we'd beat them by 4 goals for the SCG.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you play them next?
I don't know if we play them again, to be honest. I wouldn't expect us to, because we don't have a rivalry with them. So I don't know. We might play them again, but I'm not sure.
The Eagles. Below par, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles are the Eagles, really.
Yeah.
They can be a good side if they want to be a good side. But I think them and Geelong are very similar, but they're just not where Geelong are right now.
They can't win at the moment.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what kills them. I think their time may be done, obviously from the premiership.
Mm-hmm.
They were good after that. Last season as well, obviously were decent, and then I think they're slowly dropping off.
Mm-hmm. Matthew, how's the darkness? How's the darkness in your room right now?
Can you see me, bro?
Why are you sitting in the dark, mate?
Well, because we started recording this broad daylight, and now it's the sun's setting, mate.
Been here forever.
Well, there's the West Coast Oscar Allen on screen's been pretty good.
Yep.
They've phoned down back a couple of games. Dom Sheed's been solid. But I think the injuries to the midfield, of course, Shuey, Yo, Haley played a game all year. Tim Kelly. Liam Duggan hasn't been as good as well as hoping he would be. He looked really promising in pre-season when he played through the midfield. So
Brad Shepherd's been all right. He's been.
Brad Shepherd's been shocking this year. I don't know what has happened to him, but like he was getting
he's going all right. He's not terrible.
Yeah, well, I did my Supercoach team, and he averages like 60 now. He sucks.
Like, yeah, but Supercoach isn't everything about how.
Yeah, I know. But I was thinking he's not getting the ball that he was last year. And
he could have changed his role.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But his role, what he was good at, was kicking the ball because he didn't miss targets. And now I guess Alex Whitting's come in, who isn't as good as a kicker as Brad Shepherd. He's getting the ball more. So
yeah, and lucky last, eh?
There you go. The Bulldogs, the hype train all around the Bulldogs. They got their reality check last week, which is good to see. There's a lot of teams, a lot of people second team the Bulldogs. Me personally, I don't want them to win the premiership. So I'm a big person on. I think you've got to be there for a couple of years to deserve a premiership. That's why I didn't like when they won their 2016 flag.
Whoa.
As I said, it's controversial because it's everyone's second team.
Again, mate,
it's everyone's second team, but I don't like teams that pop up.
You're so far off it, mate. You just lagged like
you lagged so hard, Jacko.
We probably would have agreed with what you said, but we couldn't hear what you said.
Okay, I'll say it again. I said I don't think they deserve to win the premiership this year because they haven't been around the top 8 for long enough. Like I said, because in their 2016 season, they didn't deserve to win the premiership. They won the premiership. There's exactly people like VK.
I reckon your take is terrible.
No.
Why do you have to be up there for so long? Who cares?
Because it means
you're the best team that season. No,
I don't like that. I don't like that. I like teams that have been around there for a while. So I'd rather Port Adelaide, who were full of scumbags, beat the Western Bulldogs in the grand final.
I want the Doggies to win.
No.
Up the Doggies.
I told you. Exactly.
If Essendon don't win finals, up the Doggies.
No,
Jacko, you have to think that it's crowned the 2021 premiership
of the season, not of the last 10 years.
2021, they're the best team that season.
Melbourne deserve more than them. They've been in the finals for longer. I don't know.
Nah,
Melbourne have barely even been in the finals.
But Melbourne made a
they had one year a couple of years ago, and they've been shambolic.
Really 2-3 years ago now.
Yeah, exactly. And Bulldogs, all they do is speak wank.
Bulldogs were in the finals last year.
Yeah, they lost.
What?
They don't deserve it.
Where did Melbourne finish last year? Where did they finish last year?
Delusional.
Where did Melbourne finish last year?
So now we're talking in terms
So if they stay in the finals, how do they deserve it more if they weren't actually in the finals the year before?
One year drop off.
Bulldogs won a premiership 5 years ago. Isn't that better than making one good finals?
They don't know what day of the week it was.
Ugh, I reckon that's the worst take I've ever heard.
No.
It's the worst take I've ever heard.
No,
he's saying it because Brisbane have been in there for so long, so they deserve it now.
That is worse than Matt Priddis.
No, it's not. There's nothing worse than Matt Priddis.
No, if Jacko's call was as good as that, I'd be giving him praise right now. But that is the worst take I've heard in a long time. It's not ridiculous. We're not bringing this back. It is not ridiculous. It's a fair decision. Oh, you guys are just something.
But Jacko, here we go. Answer this for me. So we're talking in terms of Prem here. So when Leicester won the league, obviously, not a Big Six club, you're saying that Leicester needed to be up there for a few years before.
No, well, I didn't support the Premier League that year, so I couldn't care less when Leicester won it.
But that's the same. It doesn't matter if you support it or not.
Yeah,
it's the same concept.
Still the same question. You still know what happened.
No.
Bulldogs deserve it more than any other team.
It doesn't matter. They're not winning the premiership this year. So
the Western Bulldogs. Actually, I don't think they're winning the premiership either, but they deserve it.
Exactly. They don't deserve it. They're going to lose.
They deserve it.
And I'm going to laugh when they lose. And I'll come back in with
the Doggies. What is wrong with the Doggies?
I don't like their fans. Because
what fans?
No, because exactly. Do you think what fans? Then every second bloke It's just like, yes, I've been a Bulldogs supporter my whole life. Go Bulldogs, like you, VK. We
I
love the
don't go for the
Bulldogs.
dogs. I
Yeah, but
like the
yeah,
dog.
but exactly, you like the dog. Everyone
I
likes
don't support the dog. When did you say
I'm sick of
I
them.
don't mind them either.
Yeah, exactly.
I like
That's what I
the
mean. Everyone doesn't mind them, but
I was
I like the Lions as well.
I
No,
was
it's
in
not
the-
really
I was in
actually.
the
I don't know what I'm
Western
talking about.
Bulldogs. I was in the Western Bulldogs members in the
Oh no.
in their premiership window, premiership season.
Matho jumped on there. He
exactly.
jumped in there. No, I didn't do
Okay.
that. I was at home supporting them, but
No, I was with a mate in the Western Bulldogs members a fair few weeks. If there's got a ticket, you got a ticket. You go and you get a bit of a soft spot for them, and they ended up winning the flag that year, so it was a good thing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll make the grand final though against
Yeah.
the Lions.
So
Bulldogs, Brisbane.
actually talking about the Western Bulldogs, we have been a very good team. Of course, their midfielders absolutely dominated everyone. Of course, Dunkley going down near the start of the year really hurt them. He showed why Essendon should have paid those 2 first-round picks because he is an absolute.
Not worth those picks.
He is an absolute gun. He'd be the best player.
Not worth 2 first rounders though. Come on.
He'd be the best player in Essendon right now.
Oh, that's the worst. That's
Yeah,
better than Zach Merritt.
He's
Better than
Zach
Zach
Merritt.
Merritt.
In those games he was playing, he was better than Zach Merritt.
I'm about to leave the call. That is another terrible
No.
call.
Who are you referring to?
Josh Dunkley's not better than Zach Merritt.
He was
Yes,
in the start of season
comfortably.
form.
Comfortably.
No, not comfortably. They're both very close. But exactly. It's sort of
Josh
like
Dunkley is better than Zach Merritt.
only just. Zach Merritt's still obviously a gun. But Josh
I
Dunkley's
think
a
that's
study,
comfortable.
No, it's not comfortable.
What?
Yeah, I reckon.
You're smiling. You've lost it. You're taking the piss. Shut up.
Dead serious. Nothing crossed.
Hey, I know nothing else is crossed. I go hands.
All right, yeah, we'll move on from Josh Dunkley. But yeah, of course, Adam Shaw now going down. No surprise, Shaw gets injured, and they lose to Melbourne. So, sort of their midfield got overrun last week. Of course, McRae and Bond doing what they do best. You think McRae surely makes an All-Australian. He's been so close for so many years. Hasn't really made it consistently. Well, he gets 35 touches every week. The Bulldogs, I think their best asset now is their smaller to mid-sized defenders, who everyone sort of thought was their weak point. Bailey Dale would be in the mid-season All-Australian. He's an absolute gun. Carl Daniel hasn't been as good as he was last year, but still obviously very solid kicking player. Won't seem ever defend, but that doesn't matter. And their big guys have been pretty good. So yeah, there's a lot to like about Bulldogs. One thing I do like about Bulldogs is Cody Waitman. He's your
Exciting.
He's your everything or nothing player. He'll either kick you 3 goals from his 10 touches, or he'll do a game goal and then have 2 disposals of the game.
Like an Isaac Rankin, he reminds me of.
Oh, no, he's better than Isaac Rankin. Isaac Rankin's a way.
Yeah, but the style of he'll kick 3 and 10 disposals, or he'll do nothing. That style of player.
Yeah, he's better than Isaac Rankin though.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys got anything to say about the Dogs?
I think you get the nail on the head, Jacko. They got their reality check against Melbourne, but I think they can be a real contender. I don't know if they'll win it like you boys, but I think they can be a real contender. Obviously, with
they'll definitely finish
Dunkley to come back and for Law to come back, I think they can be a real shout.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else anyone wants to put out there, or are we ready to finish?
Well, we've got no other slides, so we're just going to have to wrap up on the Western Bulldogs slide.
There you go. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in to the episode. Hopefully we'll be back more consistently. We don't know when the next episode will be. Hopefully it's next week, but you never know with these two. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go follow the JLJ TikTok. It's making a big return, as you can see, getting big followers. So see you guys.
Jacko.
There it is.
What?
Yeah.